Adam LZ.
A what?
Adam LZ.
Okay. All right. But what if we already started?
I saw you click, so yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I just kind of want to sort of like set the groundwork as to like what's happening here. Two of the guys, well, Tim is on vacation. Let's just say he's on vacation and Paul's on vacation, and our fan, I'm not going to say fans, but our fan, was as like, where are you guys? Aren't you guys gonna go live? So it's like we wanted to not leave them out. That one fan that we have, and so we decided to do an impromptu show. We got scrounged up everything together. We don't have everything that we wanted. If we don't have the lovely soundboard, but we're gonna make the most out of it. It's just myself, Captain Ben, with Mr. Noel Garcia. Hey,
Good evening.
yes, indeed. And let's just, with that out of the way, let's actually just really just get the show started. And first thing, I do want to do some housekeeping, I guess you can say, and quickly mention that the upcoming events that are taking place is the LZ Invitational taking place at Orlando Speed World, December 19th. And then I believe I've heard that, have you heard anything about US Drift Circuit for the next event?
No, I have not actually. I haven't seen much from their Instagram or their Facebook pages or anything of that sort. I do know that Chris Jackson is currently in Indianapolis for PRI, which is like a trade show, kind of a small SEMA. So,
but wouldn't they usually host it in Orlando or something?
They move it around. From what I've seen, they move it around. They had one, I believe, down here in South Florida. Then they went to Orlando, and I don't know. It's just every time I see Jackson going to PRI is somewhere else. So it's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah, I do recall after he did the Klutch Kickers Fun Day event, which took place and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
At some point, but as soon as he finished the event, he went and took off on an airplane. I'm like, look at this jet setter. It's like trying to be like Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
All over the place. I mean, yeah, he is world famous. I get
it.
But don't flaunt it.
Yeah, for real.
Crying out loud.
And it looked like a private jet, didn't it? Or what was it? I just saw a quick picture of it. It didn't look in. It looked like he was walking up to it like you would as a private jet, on the runway.
The only thing missing was like the red carpet, the champagne bottles, the hula girls.
Well, the red carpet, I understand. They know it's Chris Jackson. He's gonna get it dirty, so they.
Oh boy, oh boy, that's just nuts. So, why don't we just go ahead and get started and talk about in order of events? So, before we had the Fun Day event that took place first, right? Or was there another event that took place before that?
There was.
Actually, no. Sorry. In order of events, I believe the first major piece of news that took place was the announcement of Adam LZ joining the RTR program. Yeah. And I'm sure you were ecstatic to hear about that.
It was pretty cool to hear about it. I kind of had a feeling around Irwindale when he announced that the S15 was done. Like that was the last time you were ever going to see it. And the car didn't even run that weekend except for one practice session. And then when he made the video and saying goodbye to the S15, I was like, well, I know he's really good friends with the RTR guys. He's always hanging out with them. And he's one of the very few to ever drive Von Gitten's competition car, which he did early 2020. Not many people have that opportunity. So I'm like, there's a lot of things that add up to that is like, it's going that way. But then I'm like, but he runs his own program and he's, LZMFG, Drift HQ, all this stuff he's got under his name that is like, how are you going to let that go? But the announcement didn't surprise me, but I did. It was still kind of like, wow, it came to fruition. It's kind of still shocking in a way. So, but I'm excited to see what he can do in that car or with that team, because you could see in his in the video where he starts like practicing with Chelsea. taking tips from Vaughn and Chelsea, and you can see him progressing throughout the day, especially in his tandem chasing, where he was chasing Chelsea all day when in the beginning of the day he was losing Chelsea throughout the run, but then later in the day you can see he starts like catching up to him and even getting right onto his door. So I think, you know, with the proper training and a team like that behind him, he's gonna be somebody to look out for. We're not gonna say championship level just yet, but you never know.
Well, going back to what you were saying about the speculation, I think that if you were an avid follower of Adam LZ's adventures and journeys, and you will kind of you could easily tie all the dots together. And yeah, just like you, I wasn't surprised with the announcement. Seeing as how there was just all these moments that took place that just made you think like, okay, well, there's something going on over here. And then when, of course, he mentioned that this is the last time we're going to see the S15, like you mentioned as well. He was selling the rig, that huge rig that he bought. And he also at some point mentioned how it was, I want to say a financial mistake, but it was very financially draining for him to embark on this season self-funded.
Yeah.
Even though, sure, he was getting a lot of business through his company and then Drift HQ's partnership. But for the most part, you can kind of tell that it's really, and based on what others have said, where they feel that you need to have like a major or almost like a auto manufacturer backing in order to actually make it say like break even at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are drivers that, well, also to add on to your point is that also Vaughn Gittin retiring at the same time that Adam LZ's S15 is going into retirement and all this happening. It's like, okay, come on, you know. But yeah, as far as like making it in FD, I mean, a lot of the people who make it have to last about 6 years to really start making it to where they're starting to make a little bit of money or actually being able to fund it. This is what I've heard from a lot of drivers on other podcasts and stuff, that
and also the all the press conferences you attend.
Yeah, of course. I'm always at everything apparently. But you know, like with Matt Field's a great example where for the first few years he was struggling, you know, he could barely make it into the top 8 or whatever. But you could see that little by little he started progressing. And then by around year 6 or 7, he really started making a lot of progression and started winning events or getting really far into them. And he was also saying that, hey, my program is starting to make money now. He's not backed by an auto manufacturer or anything like that, but he still has big backing through Falcon, you know, and then he's got a bunch of little shops that help him out with Powered by Max and then he has his own shop where he builds pro drift cars where his clients are his competitors, so he can really like build some really cool stuff and get paid through that as well. So I think, and then, you know, I'm pretty sure Chevy's really ecstatic that the Corvette's doing really well. Hopefully they can send them a C8. We'd like to see a mid-engine drift car out there, but
I don't want to get into that. I kind of do, just to kind of like break down the possibilities of like what can and can't happen with that. But I just don't want to spend the whole night just really kind of like thinking like, well, it could go this way, it could go this other way. They could adjust the suspension in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah.
And which they do already. Yeah. And you have to, there's an argument that the builds today are sort of like, if they're not at NASCAR level, they're very close to it, where there's like very little to no similarities with the actual original car. Right. Per se. It's not like before, remember, it will get like a stock car and then just go fix it up and go race. But now it's like, it's just a shell. Yeah. And which, even then doesn't really help identify it.
The only thing you could say is that, okay, they use a stock geometry, like they place the suspension points in all the same places, but they do so much tinkering around that at these cars. Yes, it is. I would say it's getting close to NASCAR level. I would say that NASCAR obviously has more money and all that, but these cars now are. And on top of that, think about the liberties that a drift car has over something like NASCAR or IndyCar, where it's like they have a strict set of rules where they can't go outside of. And drifting, you can do a lot. And so
for now,
but it's showing that, you know, somebody can really come in and engineer something within the rules that is going to be crazy. Look at Papadakis, look at RTR, look at Forsberg, like all those big teams, their cars are insane. Like that's not something you can drive, you can take from that racetrack and put it on the street, because that thing is just that it's made to go sideways and it's going to be nuts. But
we got confirmation from King of Spring Break, Patrick Gooden, who told us that it's like, there's no way, it just drives horrible, but
yeah,
you just got to make it work because there's no other way.
Right. That, I mean, in competitive drifting, that's what you're looking for. The craziest car that works going sideways. That doesn't mean it's going to work going down the road. So it's not like before, like you said, when it first came over here in the early 2000s, where people were taking street cars with slight suspension modifications and maybe a little bit more power, and then going out there and sliding their car and driving it back home. It's not the same. So big evolution there. But going back to Adam LZ.
Oh, I was going to say, how far back?
Yeah, because we kind of like veered
Don't
off.
worry about it. Just keep going. Roll with the punches.
I think this is a big opportunity for Ford as well. I mean, Adam LZ is a huge name in social media and in the youth when it comes to like the car guy.
But
youth.
Sorry to cut you off, but like how far? Because they have so much going on Ford. Like their big thing right now, like just looking at the whole company as a whole, their big thing right now is electrification.
Right.
So drifting isn't electrified yet.
Not yet, but Vaughn is talking very highly about that. You know, that he does want to come, that something that could possibly happen when he comes back is having an electric drift car. So, which is kind of weird. We've already seen that, and I've seen it in person. It's very weird with the EL1 Camaro that Travis Reeder drove a couple seasons back. But either way, I think it can happen. You know, electrification can happen for a drift car if with the right engineering. And I think Ford just, you know, I mean, if you have Ford backing you up, why not? You know, so but I think it's still an opportunity for Ford to have LZ bring in a younger crowd, you know, to be excited about their product. So, and I mean, it's obviously a big help for LZ too, being backed up by Ford. You know, it's, you know, he was saying it was financially draining to run a Formula Drift season and with, you know, what he had. And we know that LZ, I'm not trying to, you know, say that, you know, he's, you know, he's so much above, but I mean, we know that he's
above
got,
what?
You know, I'm just saying like money wise.
Oh,
you know, like he's financially stable, but it's still like, it's still a lot, you know, an FD season. Some of these guys are running over, you know, 250,000 a year for a lower end team. So it's pretty crazy. You know, I can't imagine.
Are these facts or are these figures that you've calculated in your mind?
I've seen them in interviews.
Oh.
Red Dan had an interview with about that. Yeah, so that's what they're spending for, and he's a lower end team, Red Dan. You know, so I mean, can you imagine what some of these other teams?
What do you consider low end? Like,
okay, he doesn't have the backing of Ford, Toyota, or Nissan.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Like Forsberg, Osbo, Vaughn. Those people have that kind of backing where they'll spend $1 million a year on a drift program. You know, so he's got to do it with much less.
I don't know if they're actually spending $1 million, but
no,
I don't think so. I mean, if you're spending, if you're spending $1 million on a drift program, Either A, you're doing well. First off, you have to like ensure that you're getting results from it, because you don't want to be like, for instance, Toyota in Formula One when they were like the number one spender out of all of the teams, and it got them no results.
Right.
And in the end, it was for the most part a failure overall, because it never really got them a championship, so forth. So if you're spending $1 million, you definitely gotta expect results compared to what Dan is. What you said, Dan is what, 250?
About 250,000 a year.
Okay, so that's like what, 4 times the budget?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 times the budget.
Yeah, and Dan's car is nowhere near what those other cars are. His program is much more limited in a lot of other ways. His rig is not. The only one that I would say is like, well, not, I can't even say that because they still run 2 cars is Papadakis. Papadakis, when it was just Osbo on the team without Turk, it was like a small trailer, but I'm pretty sure now with 2 cars and all that, they got to run a whole rig. I mean, just looking at Von Gitten's rig is like, whoa, that thing is insane. It's huge. And we saw the Fun Haver rig over at Klutch Kickers, and that thing was huge. Can you imagine with all the equipment, all the spare engines that they run, all the spare parts? I mean, they have, and they engineer their own parts too.
Well, you said that those engines are pretty much bulletproof.
It doesn't matter. They still have to have backups.
Yeah, but not to the extent like at some of the other teams where they're breaking engines left and right. You even said it yourself that those, was it? Well, they're not Coyote motors,
No, those
right?
aren't Coyotes. Those are Roush Yates RY45s.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
What you just said. Yeah. All right. So, and you follow the team like pretty closely. What was the last time they had an engine failure? See, there you go. You're having a hard time trying to figure it out. So you're having a hard time. So I feel like maybe they're not really going over budget in regards to the engine, because they're like, okay, we trust this. We got a good thing going, and let's just focus on other things.
Yeah, but it's not like.
And I think more of the budget is getting directed towards the bumpers compared to the. So I feel like the bumper budget is bigger than the engine budget.
Yeah, you could say that. That yes, the cars are reliable and all, but they still have to have backups just in case. You never know. I mean, 2 years ago, Vaughn blew a motor because a rock got into the belt system of the oil sump system, and it threw off his oil and he lost pressure, blew a motor, and he, just because it happened right before the top 32, he couldn't run or qualifying.
Wait, you said a rock got into Vaughn, so Vaughn got to smell what he was cooking? Huh? See what it did there?
Yes, I saw what you did there.
All right. So
dad jokes.
Yeah, no worries. But
we're so good at those.
Yeah. So going back, I mean, it's great. Let's see what he does. I couldn't help myself but to see a lot of parallels with Adam and Chelsea, where they ran their own program. They struggled. I feel like Chelsea struggled a lot longer, and eventually he was able to find the right team that allowed him to not worry about, maybe I would say like 75% of what it takes to run and maintain the program. Yeah. Obviously, all of the, the car that he was running, the engines that he kept replacing, the body panels that he kept replacing after all of the contacts that he kept having. Yeah. And so, yeah, that takes a toll. And then eventually, from one team to another, and then ended up in RTR, and so far he's been there ever since. And you see his progression has gone up higher, a lot faster. Yeah, and it definitely worked out for him, because he could have been one of those individuals where you saw the potential, but then he couldn't find a good sponsor or a good car, and then he might have just sort of decided to this isn't for me.
Yeah, and there's been so many drivers in the history of the sport, or any motorsport. That's fine. Any motorsport that that you may have watched, that people do have that potential. It's just that they didn't have that luck where somebody came and picked them up, or whatever. And not to say that Adam LZ is 100% lucky. He's worked real hard to get where he's at, to have that name recognition. I mean, anywhere you go, if you see a guy that's into cars, they know who Adam LZ is. So it's
Well,
yes.
there's people that don't.
Oh yeah,
There's people that don't. They're
mostly-
like they go around and it's like, who is that? It's like, well, why are all those people just huddled around him?
right,
What's a
right.
big-
I mean, I guess the older crowd, but I'm just saying more, the youth and people who have been more recent, more people that have been into cars more recently. They know who he is. I mean, his channel on YouTube is just crazy. I mean, are there a few other people that have more than him in the automotive YouTube world? Yeah, I mean, Chris Fix is the most watched automotive YouTuber.
But what about Renato? Remember?
Renato? Yeah, he's got a bigger.
I mean, it's
following.
like we're all like, oh man, LZ. I mean, he's like huge and all that stuff. The next thing you know, it's like, well, if he's big, there's Goliath over here with like 25 million like subscribers. I'm like, see, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're like, oh, everybody should know who LZ is, but it was like, well, who's this guy? I mean,
Yeah.
we just kept hearing it around the pit area. We're like, well, yeah, he's supposed to be like this, YouTube guy, and apparently he has more followers. I was like, okay, I guess, cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll
all
be
right,
honest. I'll be 100% honest. I'd never heard of him before then.
okay.
Yeah, that when people were like, "Oh, he's bigger than LZ," I was like, "What?" That's astonishing, honestly. But I mean, I don't speak Portuguese, so I can't really relate in that sense. I mean,
But do people expect you?
no, but I mean, I'm just saying, if he's so big, I just never got around to knowing who he was because it's just kind of out of my market. But either way.
Okay.
So yeah, LZ is going to Ford with RTR. We'll see what happens next season. I think it's going to be exciting.
I wonder if he's at some point suggested trying to put the SR into the Mustang.
He's hating SRs. I don't know why he would ever do that right now.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, maybe.
Oh man.
Okay. Let's go ahead and I think talk about one of the I mean, sure, there was a OSW Black Friday event, which I think Catron, I believe, he won the King of OSW title.
I believe it was Catron. Yeah, it's been a few weeks now, so I can't even remember. It's been over a month. Wow, or close to a month.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened since then. But yeah, Christian Catron, I mean, he's a heck of a driver. I've seen him drive up close, and he's very impressive with very little. I mean,
how close? Like a car length close, or like?
Well, Gabby's definitely been within a car length of him. So,
Oh.
yeah. So I was spotting for Gabby when he went up against Catron.
Oh, okay, I remember now.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Catron he's a good driver. I can't imagine what he would do with more power. Because that Z, if it's making 300 to the wheels, it's a lot. So he might be making more, but it doesn't seem that way. But he can drive. The guy can drive. So
Okay.
I can't wait to see more from him. And then he's also with Billy Mitchell. He has that black Z with the LS.
I don't know.
He was at PBR. That thing is rowdy.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So
But
Yeah.
that took place, and then the Klutch Kickers Fun Day event took place, and I
Yeah.
was watching the videos. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I really regret not being able to be there and
Yeah.
have fun and just not have to worry about event stuff and just be able to relax.
did you see they tried
then-
running a 30-car tandem?
What do you mean tried? They did,
Oh,
right?
they did, I guess.
Yeah, they did, for crying
They
out
did,
loud.
yeah.
And I mean, I guess it worked out because we didn't hear any reports of ambulances having to get sent out to
Yeah,
recover.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was really cool. I did follow a lot of Chris Jackson, what
World
he was
famous.
doing. Yeah, and the Jackson performance team. And man, it looked like a blast. I really hope. Well, this will be a topic that we're going to be going into, but I really hope that the track does stay around somehow. But we'll talk about that later. I definitely want a shot at driving that place because it just looks like every event they have over there is so much fun. Like
Yes.
the competition events that we go to are great and everything. When we go there, we're usually kind of focused on what we're doing, But when it comes to those fun day events, my goodness, it just looks like it's so much fun. I mean, so much seat time, and everybody's just having a good time, and everybody's helping each other out. It's what, man. I mean, it's the greatest place, at least in Florida.
Well, it did get the title of Drifter's Paradise.
Yes, it did.
Which also sounds like an album. Right?
Yeah. Who is it? Coolio?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's just say it
Not
sounds
Gangster's
like
Paradise, but Drifter's
sounds
Paradise.
like the title of an album. But yeah, I mean, that was great. But then it's like this sudden announcement about the sudden announcement of the track being sold or something, right?
Right. It seems like it hasn't been sold, but the lease is up and the current owner is trying to sell it. At least that's what I got from all the stuff from like people who are involved, and the Klutch Kickers staff and everything. They've been talking about it on Facebook, and that's what it seems like it's been, is like their lease is up and like they can't use it now until somebody else comes in and buys it out or whatever. I couldn't tell you exactly how that works, but it's sad. It's sad because in such a short amount of time, it's become an icon in American drifting.
Yeah.
It's been out there for 2.5 years, maybe 3. And like everybody that's involved in drifting has somehow heard of the Klutch Kickers track at Emerald Coast Dragway. I have a problem with that. Every time I see EC, I think East Coast.
Oh gosh.
And it's in fact not on the East Coast, it's on the West Coast, or actually northwest coast of Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and so many people, we've been there from about the middle, from the middle on. We weren't there from the beginning, but even from the middle on, we saw so much growth of the track, the events themselves, like people just coming from everywhere to compete or just drive the track. And it's like, it's really a sad moment right now to know that for now, they're not going to be holding events. I hope something happens where that changes.
So I just want to be absolutely clear that, yes, well, for those of you that know us and know our involvement with Klutch Kickers, like, yes, we are involved with them, but we're not necessarily like in the loop with everything that's taking place. And I think in many ways that's a good thing, because like,
we would screw it up.
Yeah, we'd probably yeah, we probably screw it up. So I think it's better that way. But so when the announcement came out that the venue was sort of, the lease was going up and that was taking place, it was a shock to us, just like how it was a shock to everybody else, because that was us hearing it for the first time.
Right.
And then the other shocker came about where there was this post by, I saw it on Duarte's Facebook, I believe.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
Yeah. And wait, you sent it, right?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, and we were just like playing Xbox or whatever, and somehow I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see Duarte post about Klutch Kickers, and I'm like, he posted about the schedule for next year.
Schedule of events,
but for Cletus.
For the Freedom Factory.
Yeah, not only Freedom Factory, just Cletus in general, what he's going to be doing.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw Klutch Kickers, and I'm like, he's going to be at Klutch Kickers? And then it says at Freedom Factory. I'm like, wait. And then I was like, maybe for 2 rounds or whatever. I saw 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it just, I was like, why is it being held there? I mean, granted, I'm glad Cletus is taking it in, and Freedom Factory, I'm pretty sure is going to be a great venue. But man, Emerald Coast Dragway has really cemented what it is to be a grassroots event that everybody can come and join. Pros, grassroots guys, pro-am, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whoever you are, you can come and compete and have a chance at it because the track is just built for that kind of thing. It's, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. You can pretty much do really well there if your driving allows for it. And I'm thinking, like, I want to see what they're going to do with Freedom Factory, because if they use the bank, man, the high-powered cars are going to, you know, and I hope maybe they do some sort of categorizing or something, like, where it's even for everybody. It's but yeah, the culture that was built in Emerald Coast, I mean, it's just going to be so hard to beat, you know.
Yeah, I just it's very unfortunate, and like I mentioned, it was just a shock to hear that well, the venue, and then all of a sudden you shared with us the announcement that, and I found it hard to believe too. I was like, wait, hold on, like, what's going on over here? This thing is happening so fast that, and not to mention there was a bit of skepticism that I had towards it, because we still hadn't heard anything from Klutch Kickers themselves.
Right.
They hadn't made any sort of announcement on any other social media channels. And I'm just like, let me just, not jump to conclusions. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe somebody says something they weren't supposed to. I don't even know.
Right.
Then it was the day after that they made that post saying that they couldn't do it anymore at the Emerald Coast Dragway, and they were now moving over to the Freedom Factory, all 5 rounds. And I was just like, well,
at least it's closer to us.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yes, there's that. But it was just, on so many levels, it was just, I don't want to say, I mean, it was, I don't know. It was very unfortunate. And I've gone through these sort of series of emotions based on our experience losing local tracks, like, for instance, Hialeah Speedway, County Line Dragway, and potentially Palm Beach International Raceway.
Right.
And so it's a bit of a gut-wrenching feeling, where it's like you have this home track that you've been going to for such a long period of time, and it's being taken away from you. And you're like, well, first off, where the heck am I going to go now? Sheesh. I mean, the next track for us, it's like 3-4 hours, depending how you go, if you want a hypermile or not.
Yeah.
But, and not to mention, like, you have the competition taking place, and it's great, but you also gotta, for me, I take into account, like, everything else that goes with it. Like, I made it, like, for me, one of the things I was looking forward to was the road trip aspect of it, where, like, I had it all, like, sorted out, all the things, like, all the stops, like, on I-95, get off on Buc-ee's, enjoy something there, then take I-10, and then get off on the Busy Bees on exit 283, and check out their apparently world famous toilets. Whatever.
We're gonna talk about that one in private.
What? Hey, they advertise it, like, on all their signs.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, that's something I normally would catch, and I have never seen any like. Is it on billboards?
Yeah, it's on billboards. Right. I believe so, if I recall correctly. If not on the billboards, I definitely would see it on the restrooms. That would be, like,
283, so that would be before getting to I-70, like where I-75 would meet, right?
If I recall correctly, I-75 happens and then 283. I recall correctly.
Oh, that's really weird. Okay.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. But and then once you're there, it's like, oh man, like, all my hot spots that I would like to go to, either Peppers, McGuire's, what you call it now, Pounders, if I recall correctly, was the name.
That was
the Hawaiian place.
That was good.
And so it sort of, like, became this, like, vacation sort of getaway, where it's like, oh, screw South Florida. Let's see what's up over at Crestview and all these things. And now it's sort of like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that I'm trying to knock on what's going to happen over at the Freedom Factory,
Right.
but and I'm sure, hopefully, I mean, the island, the after party.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like,
Yep.
how is there an island by Bradenton for all we know?
I'm pretty sure they'll find something out there, and it's not too far away from Tampa. So, but it hurts because even though it's a 9.5, 10-hour drive, that was part of the adventure. You know, of going out there, like you've mentioned, you knew your spots. I just liked going out and just driving out somewhere. I enjoy that a lot. Like I just like, you know, being stuck. I people might be thinking, you live in Miami, bro. Like, come on, that's a destination hotspot. I'm like, yeah, you live here. You figure out it's not all that. But anyway,
but it's also those weird moments that really stick with you, like the water coming through the windshield and you having to hold it up so that way you don't get flooded by it.
Finding a caution autistic child sign just in the middle of nowhere.
How is that funny?
It's just a weird thing. It's like,
oh gosh,
we were just weirded out by it. We were like, what? Why is there a caution sign for that? Like it just, we were thrown off. But like there's so many little things that would happen during a weekend that it's like, man, we're not gonna really be able to do that anymore. Like Freedom
for now.
Yeah, Freedom Factory is 3.5 hours away from us. We can go the day of and then the next day come down. It's kind of like, you know, you kind of lose that whole day experience of just driving up and down. But then of course the venue itself, I mean, you know, it's definitely become iconic in American drifting. People come from all over, as I've mentioned before, and they love the place. It's an equalizer of a track, you know, but we don't know what Freedom Factory is going to bring, right? It could potentially be better. It could potentially, you know, bring a whole new crowd. Freedom Factory is a big name, especially in the social media crowds now, you know, so it's like it might, and on top of that, the seating, it has a tremendous amount of seating, so maybe they'll be bringing more spectators. So those are some of the things that, you know, it might work out a little bit better for Klutch Kickers. But I still want to. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do fun days there. That's the only thing that I'm really thinking that it might be tough. But we'll see what they pull off, man. You never know.
Yeah, for me, it'll be actually, regardless of what happens, I definitely do plan on attending the event.
Yeah.
And for me, it'll be a bit trip down memory lane, only because of my prior trips there when it used to be the Soto Speedway.
Yeah.
And I mean, notably, they had the Nopi Drift qualifier that took place years ago, and you had our local legend, South Florida legend. So I don't want to say the whole name because he told me to just drop it, but just say Juan Henao. Juan
Okay.
Henao. Hey now.
Yeah.
I'll use that. The one that Tim would say.
Yeah.
Juan Henao.
Yeah.
He won that event, and I think there's also, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's series of people there that I recall. I don't know if they're still around. I mean, you got Craig Bullins, and he's there, and then Patrick Gooden would also make it. Bill Sherman. Hachi Bill Sherman. I think he's in the Tampa area.
Yeah,
though.
he's in the Tampa
I gotta
area.
catch up with him. I mean, I gotta try to reach out, but
And then you got Jeremy Lowe.
well, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. You're right.
he lives right down in that area. Dan Chilton, the other RX-7 guy that real good friends with.
But I think he's definitely, well, both of them. I think they're definitely out.
Yeah, I've seen things here and there where they might come back, but there's no promises on that. But yeah, I do miss, you know, seeing a lot of those guys out there, and who knows, maybe this might inspire them to come back out.
Yeah.
Having a competition like that so close, you never know. And I'll tell you, Jeremy Lowe, if he does come back, he's gonna be a threat. So
I mean, I don't want to. I'm trying to not speculate.
Right.
And it's only because, again, our association with the Klutch Kickers crew.
Right.
I don't want to say something and the next, like, hey, those guys said it. That must be happening. It's like, no.
No, not
They, again, full disclosure, they have kept us out of the loop.
Yeah.
And so we're on the same field as you guys. We're like, what's going to happen? I mean, we don't even know if they're going to use the same judges. We don't know what the track layout's going to be. Well, Zach, he mentioned that he was gonna put. He's working on prototype for the layouts.
Okay.
So there's that going on, and I'm sure there's still a lot of things that they need to still work out. Because again, this seemed to have moved a lot faster than what they expected.
Yeah.
Based on how the information traveled. I mean, the fact that we got it, well, you got it from Duarte before Klutch Kickers even had a chance to make an announcement. It's like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Shocking.
But, yeah, so we don't know who the judges. I mean, hopefully the same. I mean, Will Parsons, D. Wayne Ramsey, D. Wayne, and Officer Dan Brockett.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're still on. Or who knows if Patrick Gooden decides to just come back.
Yeah.
We'll see. What happened?
No, nothing. I mean, we just don't know everything right now. For at least as we're concerned, it's up in the air. All we know is the venue is going to be Freedom Factory, which we are going to attend. At least, I mean,
in some capacity.
At some capacity, exactly. And then, and I'm excited for the fact that it's 3.5 hours away. But at the same time, I'm gonna miss the road trip. I'm gonna miss the venue itself, and and hopefully we see all or most of the same people that we would see over there at in Holt, Florida, or maybe we might see more. Who knows, man? Make new friends. I mean, it has the potential to be a really good time, regardless.
What do you think? Okay, one thing I do want to speculate. What if, because remember, like, Von Gittin said that he's stepping away from like the top level drifting and he's looking to do like other. What if he decides to enter Klutch Kickers? Like, what do you think? How do you think that's gonna affect the playing field?
Well,
let's just work off of that.
Well, it's hard to speculate off of that because Vaughn, what would he bring? Blah blah blah. But Chelsea was talking about how he was building his Fox body Mustang for Emerald Coast.
Oh.
And now he's like, oh no, now I might need to throw more power at it. But so there was the chance of having Chelsea running in the series, which would have been obviously, we saw Chelsea 2 years ago come in, drive one of Duarte's E46s and do really well, podiuming at that event.
But you still haven't answered the question. Like, what if, okay, let's put it this scenario. All right. Let's say you got Von Gittin showing up in Chelsea's Fox body. Yeah. Let's just go with that because you seem to have a good handle of like what Chelsea has done with the Fox body. And let's just say that it goes and adds the power that he needs to be able to compete at a good rate. What do you think that's going to do to the playing field? Do you think that Vaughn is going to upset the established order? Or do you think, I mean, because Alec Hollandale, right? He could decide to still come back with the S14.
Yeah.
He might be like, you know what? Forget the 350Z. I'm just going to carry on with the S14.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I mean, if they use the bank, then but he would definitely need more power. Let's say he does get more power. Vaughn could definitely upset the order. I mean, he's got the skill. He's, considered by many to be one of the top 10 drivers in the world, in drifting at least. He could definitely really make a push to upset some of the other drivers, or the order of things. Alec Honadell with that S14 is going to be hard to beat no matter what anybody's driving. I mean, even Vaughn would have to bring out his competition car for that one. I mean, Alec he's a phenomenal driver. That car is very well set up, and it has the power to compete just about anywhere. And I mean, I've never seen somebody that could drive so aggressively yet so consistently at the same time. You know, as far as like at least at Emerald Coast. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
at least there. I mean,
I was gonna say, pal. Oh, there.
well, there's plenty of drivers, but then okay, let's talk about really aggressive drivers. Chelsea, is he consistent? No.
Oh, whoa! Shots fired there.
No, I'm being serious, and he knows it too. Osbo coined a term. I Chelsea'd it. Okay.
Okay.
We're being real about it. I'm sorry. It's just Chelsea's, you know, to me the most exciting driver. But it's just like it's because either he's going to do something incredible that nobody else can pull off, or just he might just push it over that 1% over and screw up the whole run. So we've seen it so many times where he could have won the championship this year and he just pushed a little too hard, just a little too hard at that moment. What are you going to do? You know, but I'm not saying that Chelsea is not as good as Alec. I think Chelsea has just about as much skill or possibly even more than Alec, but Alec can dial it up to being really highly aggressive, but do the same thing over and over and over and over. And I've seen him in Formula D as well, where he impressed me a lot at Road Atlanta, Alec Honadell, that is. And man, he could do the same thing over and over and still be aggressive. His flicks were incredible, like his transitions. Just I mean, so it's like it's not that it's just recent. He's been like this for a long time. And I would so to have Vaughn come over and try to challenge somebody like Alec, he might need his competition car. I'm just saying. He might. I'm not saying it's definite. He might need it.
I'm just thinking about all the people in the comments talking about like, oh, these guys are biased when you say stuff like that.
But has he not proven it? I mean,
yes, he has proven it, but it's just the way how you like word it. It's like, yeah, there's people out there that can just.
I'm not saying somebody can't come and wreck Alec a new one. I mean, it can happen. It's just that Alec right now has a hold on that. I mean, he won 3 out of 5 events this year.
Okay,
I'm just saying consistently.
Were you okay? Be honest. Were you hopeful, or did he had expectations that Devin with the 8.6 was gonna take down? Come on. You're like Corolla.
I was excited to see a Corolla out there, and I was, inside I was cheering for him, but it's just like 200 horsepower, 250, whatever he had, I was like, that's tough. That's real tough, but if there was one track that he could have done it, it would have been there. But I mean, look at the competition. Every event this year at Klutch Kickers was won by an LS. Okay. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's an interesting stat.
Yeah. And it was either an S chassis or a Miata. So.
Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, because all the S chassis were Alec, and then and then you had Taylor Ray and Ben Julian. Not in that order, but yeah.
So no manufacturer would have gotten points.
No, it would have. Yeah, that's a good observation. I like that. I like that. But no. So I mean, but I'm just saying, right now, with the way things are, Alec right now has a hold on what's going on. I mean, he just really like showed us his full potential throughout the year. I still think anybody can come in. Taylor Ray is gonna have a new car with that Corvette.
Oh, that's right, the Vet, yeah.
Yeah, and that car looks pretty serious. And I know, even Alec himself, after the event, he was like, people are building stuff for next year and it's going to be tough. So I'm not saying that somebody can't beat Alec. I'm just saying with the way he's driving and the way the car's set up and everything, he has definitely not leveled the playing field, but he's really, raised the bar this year. So
I will tell you this, that just talking about this took me back to sort of, I would just say it as disappointments on things that I was hoping to see, but I didn't get. I was like, darn. Where like we didn't get Adam LZ and Taylor Ray, which many people were expecting.
So close.
And I know it was right there. And the other one, and it's funny because he's in the chat. Brian Sturman and Devin. That would have been so great. I was just like, E30, H6, battle of the old school vehicles. Bring it. Bring it on.
Power.
Bring it on.
Both of them running 15-inch wheels at the time. Like, who does that anymore? Oh man, that would have been epic, really. And Sturman, I have to say, I'm very impressed with. I know he's going turbo now, but when he was NA with an M50 or M52, I forgot which one it is. Either way, not a lot of power. He'd get around that track and do really well. That was really impressive driving from Brian Sturman there. And I mean, I can't wait to see what he comes, when he's got more power. He's going to be turbocharged next year.
I'm sure he's happy. I mean, the track is now closer to him, so.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's in Jacksonville.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it might be.
Womp womp.
It might be farther. I don't know. It might. I don't know. We got to do the math on that one. But.
Yeah. Let's get Gabby to do the math.
Oh no. We're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, really impressed with him. I would like to see Devin come back with the 8.6, Devin Cruzet. That is
how do you call him? The crazy man?
The crazy man Cruzet. Yeah. He's definitely building for more power. I've seen a lot of his posts on Facebook. He's building for more power, so we might get to see him come back. Hopefully, he will come back to Klutch Kickers and do some damage. Don't know. But, there's... Man, I'm telling you, people are coming out for this year. It's like the things that I've heard from here and there that I cannot confirm. It might...
Look, I'm just worried that yes, you've been hearing about all of these builds, but with the recent major announcement, is that going to affect the plans? Is it just going to cause them to just go around and say like, well, I'm going to sell this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go focus on something else. And I'll just wait for them to reopen the track because this is what the car was built for.
I can see that. Look, Brandon Whitnick is a great example. 400 horsepower S chassis. That car was dialed for that track. Now he's got to come down to a track. If they are running the bank, that 400 horsepower might not cut it. It might just make it, but it might not cut it on that track versus a 900 horsepower car. So, yes, I can see the problems there. But, what if Klutch Kickers is coming up with rules? We don't know about this, but what if they are coming up with rules where it can hamper the higher horsepower cars? What if they are going to put like a tire rule in place? You cannot run a higher or a lower than 300 tread wear tire.
Look, I'll let me just say this much, that we and just to be clear, like we made the mistake of casting doubt on their abilities.
Oh yeah, we did.
When from the get-go. Main thing being is like 100,000. I mean, we've said it before.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, whatever. And they've proven us wrong.
Oh yeah.
And so, and based on our close involvement with their operations and how they function, I have faith and confidence that they will be able to, be able to, I want to say like entirely replicate the magic that they created over at Emerald Coast Dragway. But I know for sure they're going to do whatever they can to make it happen, to make it work, to make the most out of the situation. Well, I won't call it a situation, but make the most out of this opportunity that was brought forth to them.
Oh yeah, and like we said before, we're lucky to have a limited involvement with them, because if it was our ideas, it'd be terrible.
Like, you gotta put the cones there, and then like 2 feet away, the other one there.
Yeah.
I was like, how's that make sense? Don't worry. As soon as you start the competition, it'll make sense.
Yeah, we've tried running our own courses where we're like, wait, we got to readjust this really bad.
Yeah, like each judge scores a zone.
Yeah,
like separately. That's it. I remember that one.
That was a bad one. But yeah, we've had our experiments. Luckily, we're not in charge of Klutch Kickers, so it's in good hands. I fully expect to see something incredible. They're very creative too over there. They know what they're doing. So they have a lot of they have people in that team that, I mean, they have a lot of great minds, is what I'm gonna say about that. But anyway, so we'll see what Freedom Factory has to bring.
I will say this though, that we promise you, the folks, the viewers, that we are gonna try our best to grab one of the Klutch Kicker guys. We're gonna actually try. I mean, the main guy that we're gonna get is Zach. And as soon as he's ready, we're gonna be like, Zach, you need to come onto the show and you need to explain everything to us. All right, explain everything. First off, explain the Corvette. What is going on? What is happening with that?
Yeah.
Why are you tearing it apart? Why are you putting it out there? It's like, why? And then talk about Klutch Kickers. It's like,
we're gonna massage them into the Klutch Kickers.
Wait, what?
Top of it. Yeah. You gotta like soften them up, like talk about other stuff, and then be like, okay, here come the really hard questions.
Okay.
You know. So
did you institute a roof rule?
A roof rule?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with yeah, I remember that in Prospect.
Was it Novak, right? Nick Novak?
Nick Novak, yeah, I believe it was Nick Novak. Yeah, his roof coming off at the entry of Irwindale. That was crazy. Anyway, that was a whole topic that we had. If you want to go back to that episode,
fun times.
Yeah,
fun times. Yeah. So hopefully more information will come out. But as we've mentioned before, just make sure to follow Klutch Kickers on all the social media channels, and stay tuned for more information. And hopefully we get answers.
Yeah,
there are so many unanswered questions. Or like, I mean, I'm trying to yank my hairs, but there's not much. But
mine's growing out a little bit.
Wait, what?
Mine's growing out. You want some?
No, that's fine. Okay. Whatever. There's that. The other thing that took place, Drift Week.
Yeah, Drift Week. I didn't keep up with it this time. Honestly, yeah, I've been really busy with work and stuff, but Drift Week, I'm pretty sure I have seen a couple little things here and there, some interesting interviews that Aaron Losey did, but nothing really having to do with Drift Week itself, more like things that we might be seeing in the future or whatnot. But either way, I would hope that one day I could attend a Drift Week. That just seems like just so much fun. You know, going from track to track. It's an adventure in your drift car where you go drifting, but it's also a big road trip, and just, and you get some challenges where you have to repair your car and whatnot. But I mean, it's just
in its current state right now. How do you think the Mustang would fare at a Drift Week?
With a couple more mods, I think that...
No. I'm talking about in the current state right now, sir. No modifications.
Oh, no. It'll crash.
It'll crash?
Yeah, with me behind the wheel for sure. Yeah.
But that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
No, the car still needs a couple things to be just right. But it's coming soon, actually. Some crazy things just happened where, yeah, it's coming soon.
Okay.
So, but I would definitely like to take a car like my Mustang out there. I think that car with, a little bit of maintenance, that it needs would fare very well, because it's mostly a stock 4.6. Those things are pretty hard to break unless you're pushing it, with a supercharger or something. And mine doesn't have a supercharger. And I think just about any well-built car that's about 400 to 500 horsepower can just make it just easily, as long as it's not an SR,
What's wrong with SRs?
We know how they don't last.
Okay.
They don't last at 300 horsepower. Come on.
Okay. All right. If you say so.
But no, a lot of cars now with about 500 horsepower, they say reliable. Look at the Corvettes. Look at the Mustangs. Look at, even cars like the 350Zs need a little bit of internal work. But if an HR can do it, with that kind of power and have plenty of power for drifting, still be reliable, still get pretty decent gas mileage on the trip.
Okay, let me ask you this then. What is the minimum amount of horsepower you feel that a driver needs to be competitive at the Freedom Factory? for the upcoming season of Klutch Kickers. The minimum.
If they're using the bank, I will have to say minimum 500 horsepower.
Really?
If they're using the bank. Well, I would say to stay competitive. Oh man, that was about 500 horsepower already at Emerald Coast. I'm gonna have to like update this number here.
Yeah.
I would say about 600.
600.
600.
Wow.
Yeah, which is getting up there. You know, I mean, it's still reasonable if you have the right engine setup. You know, a nice LS with internals and a supercharger. You can get that easily, and it'd be reliable. The thing is that, you know, the bank, if they use the bank, that's what's going to be the determining factor. Because if, as you know, when you go on a bank, even though the radius might be a certain way, it just makes it that much, you generate that much more grip because your car is being pushed into the bank. So you need the power to be able to break traction. And then on top of that, you want to be fast because the cars that are going into that bank, they're moving, especially if we're talking about, you know, some of the pro cars or ex-pro cars, pro spec cars, whatever's out there, it's going to be fast. So you're going to, you know, 600 horsepower, I would say, is about minimum if they use the bank. If they don't, it'll be back down to 450, 500, I would say. Maybe even 400. You can do some damage. Look at Brandon Whitnick. He was competitive, 400 horsepower. So.
That's true.
Yeah, so I would say 550, 600 for the bank.
Okay.
If no bank, back to where it was at Emerald Coast, 400 to 500.
Huh. Well, I'm definitely curious to see how that's going to actually play out. So, guys, make sure to take note of this. So that way, if Noel is wrong,
Of course.
sound off in the comments
I will
at
be
the Klutch
wrong.
Kickers industry. It's like that kid with all the information was wrong.
I'm always wrong. I mean, come on. It's me, guys. Please.
That's crazy. The one of the other things I wanted to bring up that was quite I was quite excited to see the who was it Drift Masters. They put out a virtual competition on Assetto Corsa.
Oh, yeah.
And so okay, because I remember Gabby J, the Conquo collected
Individual.
with the 350Z that'll blow your ears.
There we go.
Can't believe I forgot.
I had to keep it going there.
Thanks for saying, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks, bro. Yeah, they put out a competition, and to kind of like make a long story short, basically whoever wins the competition gets flown out to Poland, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where Peter's from.
Yeah.
So.
Well, basically, they get flown out somewhere in Europe. We'll leave it at that. With the opportunity to drift a car.
Yeah.
And it turns out it wasn't just any car. It was Pieter's the Candyman's drift machine.
Yeah.
And you saw the whole video, right?
Yeah, I saw it. It was incredible. Well, go on.
Oh, but it's great to see the well, it was great to see entirely what transpired, simply because there's always been this sort of kind of like notion that it's like if you're good in the virtual world, a lot of it should be able to translate well into the real world. Right. Obviously, it depends, of course, on the individual to be able to kind of make the connection, so that way then they could go ahead and progress. But to see that happen, it's just like it's very uplifting. It's very motivating. It's very inspiring, I would say, when you have somebody. I mean, again, we don't even know what kind of car he has, if he does any drifting, real life drifting himself.
I don't think he's.
Which I think that's something that one key detail they should have, touched on.
I think he mentioned something about not having a drift car, but I would have to go back and watch that.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
But that's a key detail I think that would have been really helped out, because if this was somebody that had no drift car and was just that good in the virtual world, I think it would have just made more of an impact as in regards to the whole idea that they're trying to sell, which is like, oh, if you're good in the virtual world, you should be able to pick it up and be good in the real world.
Right. And I've noticed that. I've noticed that on a lot of things. I've noticed people that just got into drifting, like young kids that are 18, 19, just got a drift car. They go out to the track right away, are killing it. And I ask them, I'm like, what are they? They're like, oh, it's my first event. I'm like, what are you doing? Simulator.
What are you doing?
They're like, oh, I'm on a simulator. I'm like, this is so crazy because I've tried simulator. I'm not saying I'm a great driver or anything because obviously I'm out of practice. But
well, you mentioned it earlier, so yeah.
But I mean, I can get around a track with enough seat time, right? It's not that big of a deal for me. But I've gotten into simulators and it takes me time to start getting used to it. Like really like being like, okay, it's more like this or that. These kids come out of the simulator and are jumping onto the track, killing it right away. So it's like it's easier for them to get off the simulator onto the track and do well than somebody that's been on the track for a long time and then get into a simulator. And I think it's the fact that the people who drive in real life or start driving in real life are reliant more on G-forces, things that are telling your body like the direction of the car, where it's going, or things like that, where you get that like butt dyno thing where it's like you kind of know what's happening just by the seat of your pants.
Well, let me add to that, where it's not only about the G-forces, but it's also so much more to it, where it's like the temperature, one of the major things, and this comes down to the game and the settings, is that oftentimes when you're playing in the game, there's no tire wear. Yeah. And that's something that you're in the real life is sort of you're paying more attention to, because
that's a good observation. Yeah.
The more the tire wears down, you're having to adjust your driving, meaning that you're sort of more sensitive with the throttle and making constant adjustments. Not to mention too that as much as the simulators try to recreate the physics of a real life model of a track and the tires and how it makes contact with it's not going to be the same. And it's sort of, and yes, the G-forces and the weight transfer and all those things and the visceral feeling of trying to stay strapped down because you forgot that one bolt in the seatbelt harness and you're just sliding around like,
or you have a stock Mustang seat.
That
Trust
too.
me, it's bad.
I mean, yeah. So you have all of that taking place, and you do what you can to try to work around those parameters. But I definitely agree that it's harder for someone that's really good in real life, IRL, trying to transition or recreate the same kind of movements going into the virtual world.
Yeah.
And I think it would probably be easier if you go like with how some of these guys that go through like these crazy expenses of like getting those like simulator rigs that like move and like shake and do all those things, and I'm just like, whoa there, pal. Okay, relax.
Too much.
But what was your take on that? I mean,
it was just incredible to see somebody that from what I remember, said that he has no real life drifting experience, just jump into a championship winning car that the people always think, oh, it's a well set up car. It's still a 900 horsepower beast with tons of grip that things happen very quickly. And this kid just jumps in and just starts drifting. I mean, granted, he's not coming in at 100 miles an hour or anything like that, but you could tell he could build up to that and do really well right off the bat. And even Piotr was like he was like, you're a natural. Like, this is just, this is so easy for you. This is crazy. And then he even started tandeming with him. And it's just like, it was like the kid knew what to do right off the bat. It was incredible to watch. And I'm telling you, I've seen so many people go from a real car into a simulator and it doesn't work the same. It's just like they're lost. Like a good example, Paul says
who's Paul?
Our Paul.
Okay. But you say Paul, and it's like people are like, who's Paul? What Paul?
Paul, big ogre guy.
Okay, yeah. Paul from our show, Paul Murphy.
Yeah. So he's talking about like the simulator doesn't make sense to him. Like the car just wants to spin out all the time, and I can, and then after I tried it, I'm like, I kind of see what he's saying. I mean, I've played other video games where you don't have all those senses, but it's not the same as a Seto or any of those, real close to real life simulators.
Mm-hmm.
But I started picking up on it a little bit quicker because I already had video game experience. But my real life experience was telling me like there's so many things that are wrong here. But I was just like, I was like, man, the future of motorsport is in these guys that run simulators. Like, I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of these people going into real motorsport from the simulator world, and that's kind of crazy to think about it. Because how has motorsport been since the beginning? Like, you get a young child from 4 or 5 years old, get them in a go-kart, take them out racing right away, and they grow, and then they get into higher forms until they get into one of the big forms of motorsport: NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One.
I want to tell you
whatever.
something. You're the guy that hates the future. I know this because you're like, everything's going to be electrified. Everything's going to be virtual. So
I'm not a fan.
You really are not looking forward to the future. I know that.
In a sense, I'm not.
In many senses,
I'm not a big fan of all that, right? But I understand that's where the world is going, and it's like I've come to my senses in the sense where it's like, okay, I'm not liking it very much, but I know that one day I'm just gonna have to, if I want to continue on with this, I'm just gonna have to move on. I mean, I started thinking about like, man, me not liking EVs and all this stuff. I feel like the guy that was really into carburetors and fuel injection is starting to take over. And it's like, oh, that fuel injection crap. Like, I'm like, oh no, I'm that old guy. Like, I gotta stop doing that. I gotta start realizing like, hey, this is the future. We can still like what we like, but this is where it's going. I still don't think that it's going to be all electric cars by 2035. I think that's just, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're still going to have some alternative forms of fuel, or still run some gasoline if you could afford it at that time when it's like $70 a gallon. No, I'm kidding.
Huh. Probably in Europe.
I'm going to have to do something about the Mustang real quick. That thing goes through premium like it's oof. And then the truck. But anyway, so I understand that. Now, I am still a fan of internal combustion. I'm still a fan of seeing that kind of like that more mechanical, it's almost more organic, if you want to call it that way, like way of transportation and motorsport and all that, because it's just, I guess that's the way I grew up, and I like the way cars sound, the way an engine sounds, like it's just, that's exciting to me when I hear a car. Like I watched Formula E one the other day and I was like, this is boring. Like I'm sorry, this is just not it for me. But I understand that I might have to somehow
get with the program, pal.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. If I want to continue in motorsport, I guess that's where it's going. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where drifting goes. Who knows? Maybe electric is not the way for drifting. But
Did you know that Ford is offering electric crate engines?
Are they?
You didn't know that?
No, because I don't care for electric stuff.
Come on, man. I thought you follow all things Ford.
No. There's some things where I'm just like, I'd rather not. I'm selective to my news intake.
Oh, okay.
All right. Tell me about the Ford electric engines, or electric motors, really.
Okay, let's go ahead and pull this up over here. Let me make the adjustments so everybody can see what we're talking about. And there we go. Ford's 281 horsepower electric crate motor costs $3,900, and you can buy one now.
Well, it already makes more power than my 2-valve 4.6, so there's
look at that much. Look at that beauty.
Oh,
look at that.
There's nothing exciting about that.
What are you talking about? It has ribs. It has
But where does the air go in, and where does it come out?
It has grooves.
Where does the fire come out?
It has bolts.
Does it make a sound?
Does it? Well, the Mach-E made a sound, right?
Those are differentials.
Different. Okay.
Or at least that's what they said it was. I don't know.
Oh, look. Or you could buy two and make a powerful all-wheel drive hot rod, like Ford has.
Oh, so is it? Hang on. What hot rod do they have that's all-wheel drive?
I don't know. Maybe the Mach-E.
Is that a link?
What?
No, scroll over with the words.
Oh, wait. Where? This?
No, up.
Up where?
Up. Right there. Scroll over that. I thought that was a
It's not a link, man. It's a highlight.
Okay.
They're trying to highlight to let you know, like, hey, look, you can buy two. So like they're trying to sell you.
Well, can I buy two and put them both on my rear wheels? Because that would be.
I'm sure it's possible they do that.
That's 562 horsepower. I could probably get on with that. Why not? I mean, it'll be kind of. I'll miss the sound. But it's plenty of power to go drifting with that. I mean, how many RPM can that thing spin?
Beats me.
Yeah, you see, there's so many things that it's not just horsepower. There's so many things that go with it. Like
Hang on, let me enhance the.
They call it the Illuminator instead of the Illuminator.
There you go.
Wow. Okay, so we knew Ford was formally rolling out its Illuminator electric crate motor this year at this year's SEMA show. That is funny to me. Let's see.
Hey, look, 634 pounds of torque.
It's a lot of torque, but how many RPM?
Oh.
You see, there's a lot of things that go with it.
Is there a dyno around here that we could dynograph?
If it's that much, that little power with that much torque, it's not a lot of RPM. So it's like you have to re-gear it for that.
What transmission bolts up to it?
I think it goes directly to the wheels, doesn't it? Because they're saying if you buy two of them, you can make it all-wheel drive.
So it wouldn't go to...
I think it goes to the wheels.
So then you would need four. You got four wheels,
no,
dummy.
it powers two wheels each.
Oh, so it'd be at the differential then.
Yeah, it'll be like a diff.
Oh,
but all your power is coming from there. Oh, I mean, weighs 205 pounds. Well, that's way lighter than my 2-valve 4.6. So, I mean, there's advantages, obviously.
Okay, then let me ask you this. You think with this engine, you'll be competitive at Klutch Kickers?
No, no.
Season 3, right?
No, season 3, no. I would need at least two of those, both powering my rear wheels. And I don't know how you could make that work.
Man, that's something.
I mean, 281, my engine from the factory made 260. I got cams, long tubes. I got a bunch of bolt-ons on it, tuned and everything. So from 260, I probably have about close to 300 crank. Yeah. So I'm making a little bit more than that. But I get it. It's cheap. It's light. It has plenty of torque. I don't like that it doesn't make sounds.
Okay, all right. It'll make some kind of sound. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, so that's that. They have a great engine, man.
That's neat. Look, the future is obviously electric, and there's gonna be ways of getting these things to work in drift cars. They're already fast. I mean, look at the Teslas, the Plaid. They just raced the Unicorn against it, and it did a lot better than I expected. The Unicorn still won, but that's, come on, 1,400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, lightweight, That's a whole different animal there. But they did race the Model S Plaid or whatever it's called against a 1,000 horsepower McLaren, and it beat it every time. And they put 5 people in the Tesla, and it still beat a 1,000 horsepower McLaren.
Jeez.
And then on top of that, it was braking better than the 1,000 horsepower McLaren, which I'm like, McLaren's supposed to be a race car, should stop on a dime. And the Plaid with 5 people in it, weighing so much more because those things are already close to 5,000 pounds as it is.
Yeah.
Still outbrake a McLaren. So obviously, Tesla and all this electric stuff is the way of the future. And I guess I have to be there for it because I like cars.
Okay. So talking about being there, are you going to be there for this? The LZ Invitational.
We should try to make a push for it.
Happening December 19th. at Orlando Speed World. What
What do you think? Do you think we should go out there?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a YouTube members only event, right? No? Oh, that's just a live
That
stream.
live stream. I think it is what, like $30 to get in? Yeah, $30 per spectator. I'm taking over Tim's job here of messing up all the words.
Sheesh, man. Come on now.
$30 per spectator.
Don't pick up bad habits.
No, I know. It's just he's not here, so I'm like making up.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. All right.
So,
and then
but still, it's an exciting event. I mean, you got a bunch of guys out there going out there to compete for a top 16, and then you have Pat Good and Chelsea DeNofa, and who else is judging? And Adam LZ is one of the judges as well.
I wonder what Pat is going to show up. Passionate or King at spring break?
And they're also doing a demo, like those three guys.
Demo? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
they're doing their own drift tandems and
Well,
stuff.
that's
together.
one side of the thing. Let's check out the other half.
Oh, there
Okay,
we go.
we
It
got
says
the
there.
official drivers list here. We
Ooh.
got a medley of stars. You got it. Because I'm just thinking about it like as an award show, like those
Yeah.
old school like movie award show.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's it again? How was it I was saying? It's like, and we have the LZ Invitational featuring a medley of stars from YouTube, such as Aaron Lutze, Chris Rudnick, Duarte Viana, Sam Lucas, and so much more. Make sure to check out the LZ Invitational happening at Orlando Speed World.
Oh, look, it says guest driver and judges on the bottom. There you go. You got Adam LZ in a 2JZ E36. I'm pretty sure that's his competition car. Then you got Chelsea driving a 750 horsepower Mustang RTR.
Must be the demo car.
Yeah, it must be a demo car. And then you got Pat Gooden in a 450 horsepower LS SC300.
I think that's what was it again? Tassanero, I think his name is.
Yeah, Tassanero is driving, but I think it's somebody else's car. I keep forgetting the name. It's the black one. It looks like
Yes.
a Dale Earnhardt car.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that car is cool. I like it.
But let me ask you this: who do you not know from this roster of competitors that it's going to be taking place?
I'm not sure who Grant Anderson is. Oh, okay. I guess he's with Adam LZ. We know Hurt, Jason Dixon. We know Jimmy Oaks. We know Johan. We know Lee Yearwood. We know.
Oh, Johan is driving. Wow.
Yeah. I'm excited to see him out
Dude,
there.
it's been a long time since I've seen him. I mean, personally, like the last time I saw him drive. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Hang on. Personally, the last time I saw him drive,
Yeah.
was in Three Palm Speedway.
Oh wow. Yeah. And that was a long
That
time
was
ago.
like
Since
years ago. I feel old, but still, regardless, that was a long time ago.
the last time anybody drove there, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. So it's been 2014 or 15, something like that, around there. It's been a long time since you've seen him drive. Then, I'm not sure who Trevor Jameson is. Motion Auto TV. I guess I gotta check them out. But just about almost everybody else, I know who they are. So
Who's sponsored by Junk?
Chris Rudnick. Man, I don't know. Is that his YouTube channel? I like it. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, let's go for that.
Yeah. So
Rudnick is gonna take it.
Yeah.
We're putting our bets on.
Chris Rudnick, if you're listening to this, we got your back.
Yeah, man. On that I mean, is that intentional? 420 wheel horsepower, 420 Mint Genesis.
There's a
Okay.
lot of people with 420s. I think it's on purpose. You got Aaron Losey with 420 horsepower, Chris Rudnick, then you got Grant Anderson, and then you got Jimmy Oaks. All of them have 420 horsepower.
And the official announcer is Tommy F. Yeah.
Okay.
You sound like you know who that is.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't. Either way, it looks like it's going to be a fun event. And I'm sure LZ has going to have a lot of stuff there to do anyway. You know, he brings out the vendors and stuff. So
It definitely looks to be like an interesting event.
yeah, I might make it out there. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, weren't you gonna wrench on your Mustang?
Oh, I got plenty to do on that too. So there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, because I'm trying to find the video right fast of what I was talking about. Ah, here we go. I found it. Hang
This is
on.
an iPhone.
Ugh. Damn it. Well, I'm almost there. Hang on. I'm just gonna wait for this thing to pop up here. There we go. And we got this. Hang on. Almost there. Let me just dismiss a couple of things. And it's embarrassing for crying out loud. See, look at that. Johan in the mix. What's up with that?
You got a young Johan.
Hey, how come? Oh, that's right. I muted the audio. Whoopsies. There we go.
I hope that's not loud for the viewers.
Telling you, man, this guy could rip.
Yeah,
It's just, I mean, it's cool that he's wrenching and so, but I mean, there's talent.
Yeah, we want to see him drive. I think he's got a lot of potential. Let me tell you, Three Palms was an interesting oval. It was more wide than it was long. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right way to. And I mean, I never drove on it, but just looking at the way the bank was, the way the angle of the bank and the way it didn't look like it was like your traditional oval for some reason. It looked like you had to drive it a little bit differently, but you know. So he was definitely adapting.
And that was Johan.
Nice.
Hey, look at it. It's on there.
Oh, look, it's Paul.
Yeah, right?
And me.
Yeah.
And Tim.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we got to get out of there.
Yeah, so any closing remarks? Anything else you want to mention before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, the news is way out there. I mean, everybody knows if you're in the drifting world, Ebisu Minami course obviously is
Didn't we talk about that already?
No, we have not talked about it.
What? Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's actually official. It is now a dirt course.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's or at least I saw a video of Naoto Tsunaga riding his dirt bike through the dirt of what used to be Minami. I mean, they just had their last D1 event a couple weeks ago where Naoki Nakamura won the championship, which is if you're an avid follower of the JDM stuff, he's considered to be one of the best in the world, actually on par with maybe James Dean and people like that, but with a little bit of a different style. But yeah, that was kind of a nice send off, I guess, for Ebisu to have its last D1 event there and have Naoki win it. But I mean, it's an iconic track that, you know, we're gonna miss. You know, I mean, I've never been there, but it's like that was always a dream to go there. You know, and specifically, Ebisu has many courses, but Minami is the one that everybody wanted to go to because it had the jump and it was just wild. It was just a crazy track. It was blind into the jump, and you jump and either you're going into the wall or you're not making the corner. But like to see it really like developed some of the craziest driving and drivers in that track. And well, it's sad it's gone.
So many tracks are leaving us, for crying out loud. Stop. Make it stop.
Yeah.
It's like a whole pandemic in itself. Yeah. Like, just stop it from happening, please,
yeah.
Josh.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, we should start a movement. Like, save the tracks.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, it's not just in Florida. In fact, New Orleans, NOLA, I don't think they're doing drifting there anymore.
Wait, NOLA?
No.
Someone named the track after you?
No.
Wait, what?
No, the NOLA is a road course and kart course where they were doing a few drift events. They were really good drift events, and then and the kart track was so good. But I've recently heard that they're not doing drifting events there anymore, which is sad. And I mean, we just, we got to figure something out. And the funny thing is that drifting in its current form, when it comes to the grassroots, people are looking for those kart track types. You know, like, well, we had that at PBIR, and when they took that away, that was a big deal for a lot of people.
I remember there was mixed emotions about the kart track.
I don't know. Most of the people I talked to, that's where they wanted to drive.
Well, I'm just saying, like, not everyone was happy about it. Should I call it? I don't want to say names. No. All right. There's one in particular who we know.
Yes.
Very close. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's very loud. Well, the car is, at least. Let me just not go any further from that. But he had a good point, and that is that the car track didn't really allow him to open up the vehicle and really push it the way how he built it. Right. And so he felt that it was more of a hindrance, whatever.
Right.
I just got hit with that poorness word that he used from
from the last episode.
Yeah, something like that. But in any case, going back, yeah, he mentioned that valid point. I get it, but at the same time, it's sort of like, well, you may be a minority when it comes to that. Well, based on what you're saying, because it seems like the majority of the people were fans of the kart track, right?
Yeah. Well, think about Klutch Kickers. Everybody likes the Emerald Coast drag strip track because it's a tight technical track that, you know, you could bring whatever you want and have a good time in. Look at some of the tracks that are being built or that have been built. Villain Sportsland, Honda Muscleman's, Apple Valley Speedway.
Wait, go back. Honda Muscleman?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a track.
Wait, what?
Yeah, out in the West Coast.
Wait, Honda Muscle Men.
It's not spelled the way you think it is. Hang on, I'll show you. So go on, but
no, I can't move on because you're telling me there's a track named Honda, or it's pronounced Honda Muscle Men. Am I correct? Or am I off?
Muscleman Honda.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a track in Arizona.
Can you spell it out, please?
Musselman.
Oh, okay.
Like a mussel, like what you get from the ocean, right? A mussel, whatever.
Okay, so it's not Honda Muscleman.
Yeah, Honda.
It's Muscleman Honda.
Yeah. Or yeah, Muscleman Honda circuit. Yeah, they've used that in Drift Week a lot. It's really cool track. It's very go-kart.
Okay, all right.
Apple Valley Speedway.
Well, hang on. Before we move on, thank you for clarifying it, because I was just gonna lose my mind.
You were thinking that they had bodybuilder competitions on there or something?
I don't know. With a
strongman competitions,
dude, with a name like that, I don't know what to expect. I mean, it's like, wait, what's happening here? Is this even a track? Should I even bother going? I mean,
it's a track. It's a track. It's a really good track too. So.
Yeah, but a track for cars, right?
For cars.
Not for bodybuilders or anything like that, right?
Motorcycles, go-karts.
Bodybuilders that only drive Hondas.
No. I'm a huge man in a small car.
Oh man.
Anyway, but yeah, I feel like grassroots drifting is
driving a CRX.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. A dull soul. At least it's not a Honda Beat, okay?
Oh,
that's real tiny.
No, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, or the City.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the little van called? The Life, Honda Life or something? It's really small van, whatever. Anyway, that's just a whole other topic.
Okay. Yeah, we're losing people.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's wrap it up. Come on.
So anyway, I think grassroots drifting is kind of in there, with the go-kart style track. That I think that's Park is another good example. So where Chelsea does all his videos and stuff, that's a great track, and people love driving on that. And I think I would like to see more tracks like that pop up, especially here in Florida, so we can have something like that. Klutch Kickers was the closest thing to us, and I would like to see that come back, and somebody build something kind of close to that, because the high speed tracks are great, but they wear down the tires too quickly. The car gets hot real fast because you're flooring it everywhere, and it's a little more things wear out faster with the high speed tracks, and of course it's also more dangerous, but which is actually more exciting for some people. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll miss you, Abby, soon.
So 2 weeks from now is what you say
It's
it
Christmas
was?
Eve.
Christmas Eve. So
Yeah.
I don't believe we're going to be able to do a show because we're just going to be too busy going crazy on the eggnog, correct?
Yeah, and then the week after that is New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So
Okay, so let's try to do something in between. Try to
We'll try to-
squeeze in.
Yeah.
So it may not necessarily be like 2 weeks from now. It might be a week
yeah.
or so. Because I say this because I really want to pick at your brain and get a full in-depth review on the new Forza Horizon game. All right.
Okay, all
So hopefully by then you have everything detailed, and there's a couple of events taking place, and who knows, we might have from here and maybe a week or two from now, we might have one of the Klutch Kicker guys available to come onto the show and sort of break things down for us, because we need answers. All right, we need it.
I know it's too late to plan for this, but we should have done a Secret Santa with bad gifts.
Oh gosh.
That's
That's actually that would have been actually a great idea.
That would have been great.
Cool.
Damn.
All right. In any case, well, folks, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. We truly appreciate it. And like we said, we're going to, whenever we get our schedules aligned, we'll make an announcement and we'll let you guys know for the next episode. But until then, enjoy yourselves and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Good night.